This program is proudly brought to you by SUNBET, and it's called The Road to the SUNMET. And many of us will ask the question in this beautiful sport of thoroughbred horse racing, where does the buck stop? And it just so happens that about 250 metres down the road at the National Horse Racing Authority is where the buck stops. And we're going to take a walk down to the NHA to meet with Arnold Hyde, who's the Racing Control Executive, for his take on the running of the 2019 Lormeron's Queen's Plate. The merit ratings were astronomical. Do it again, given 125. And I'm not going to spoil the rest of the story. Let's go and find out what Arnold Hyde's take is on the running of the 29 Lormeron's Queen's Plate. Proudly brought to you by SUNBET.
Well, the race, I think, lived up to its billing. I mean, it was a fantastic race and a great advertisement for horse racing in this country. And I think it was such a great race. It's wonderful to note that Hong Kong are taking our SUNBET meeting and that we can use this as an advertisement for the state of South African racing at present. I mean, we have some wonderful horses in our system at present. And I think the racing world, sit up and take notice of these performances and the ratings that have been allocated to these special horses from the Queen's Plate.
In the heat of the moment, I said to Richard Fourie, this is a machine that's international class, I have to say.
There's so much horse, so much potential. He's just going places, just getting stronger and better.
It hails him as a horse that would definitely be effective on the strong international market.
Absolutely right, Andrew, yes. I mean, you look at the Greenpoint performance after a rest and, to come out on Queen's Plate Day and put in a performance like he did. I think he'd probably hold his own in any race around the world, such as is his ability. And I think there's more to come judging on that performance. There was obviously a stronger race in the Queen's Plate than the Greenpoint. And I think it changed the results a slight bit. But I think it was a race that was obviously run on its merits. And, that's why the ratings were allocated in accordance with that.
It's interesting that you should say stronger race because I think it's all about timing. The only horse that affected the outcome of the Lormeron's Queen's Plate that wasn't in the Greenpoint was, of course, the 3-year-old Socrat, who, speaking to your colleague V. Moodley, says ran out of his socks. So we all know he's a very good horse. The form was franked on the day by the top weight Twist of Fate winning it with emphatic style. So I think we've seen probably true greatness.
Well, it's very exciting. I mean, Socrat was a winner, shortly before the finish line and was just nabbed, just on the finish line. And it was great riding as well from the professional jockeys that were aboard these horses. So it was a wonderful advertisement for South African horse racing. And of course the race created so much excitement before, it lived up to expectations, and I think it's just added to the build-up to the SUNMET.
We do know that the NHA put out a press release earlier on this week that informs us that Do It Again is a 125, Soccer is a 124. Let's take a look at Legal Eagle, Undercover Agent's performance, and indeed Rainbow Bridge, who finished some way ahead of them, which vindicates the fact that the slow run race in the Greenpoint didn't suit him and that the addition of a pacemaker certainly helped his cause.
Yes, absolutely. Obviously there were stories for each and every race, and just reading the newspaper articles this morning, I read one about Legal Eagle, and Sean Tarry just was of the opinion it seemed a bit flat. So maybe it wasn't his day, and we must bear in mind that these are equine athletes, it happens. So I think it just adds to the excitement and what can actually happen on another day. But having said that, of course, there was a stronger pace in the Queen's Plate. Amazing Strike, took it on from pretty much after the start. And I think it was noteworthy that he was passed by Undercover Agent just going towards the 700 metre. Subsequently, Amazing Strike was found to be not starting out by our on-course veterinary surgeon, so maybe that explains why there was that run and he started to compound around the turn already. But he did set a faster pace. And I know there was some criticisms regarding the use of a pacemaker in inverted commas, and obviously the rules that the NHA subscribe to dictate that horses shall be run on their merits, and we do look at those performances from every horse in a race. When a veterinary report is furnished in the case of Amazing Strike, obviously there are reasons for that below par performance. So it's difficult to gauge what would have happened if he was sound during the race. And after the race, of course, the vet did note that he wasn't striding out. I must say that there was a report from the ride as well of an abnormal respiratory noise.
In real terms, Amazing Strike did his job to a certain extent. The fact that he has a history of breathing problems and runs with a Cornell collar, and he's probably a better 7 furlong horse, ultimately one has to say that Rainbow Bridge ran his best race.
Yes, I think so. I think you're correct in assessing it like that, Andrew. I would agree with you. Yeah, I think he ran his best race under the circumstances, and the stronger pace I think would have suited.
And can one possibly deduce that the fact that Rainbow Bridge started his preparation on the 10th of October and that he still has to get to the end of January, whereas Do It Again is now only having his third run since the Vodacom Durban July, that there's a very good reason for this massive differential between the betting markets that prevailed before the Lormeron's Queen's Plate and the one that exists at the moment?
I think you've got a good point there. The trainers would know better than I would. I think trainer Eric Sands and trainer Justin Snaith are both experts in their own right, and they would know how they've planned their horses' itinerary and their program, and how they will see out the season and the race at the end of the season. Obviously, the season will be longer for Rainbow Bridge and Do It Again, but I'm sure that they're fine trainers, and they would have made the necessary plans to ensure that they finish off the season in the right manner.
Added to which, of course, you've got the filly that won last year's SUNBET, Susanna, taking her place in the lineup. And obviously there was a huge hike in the merit rating of the filly that ran second to her, Lady in Black, because she has consistently proven to be ever so slightly inferior to Susanna, who's maintained her merit rating of, I think, 120, 121, which she obtained last year.
Yeah, what a fantastic filly. So I think, that's also, it's very interesting to see how she performs. And she's such a top-class, world-class filly that, of course, she could also quite easily be, in the finish in a very strong way. And I think that's what a lot of people are expecting for her to be right there in the thick of things.
The SUNBET has been our absolute highlight on our horse racing calendar. It's given SUNBET the opportunity to add value to such a prestigious day. It's given SUNBET the opportunity to engage with horse racing customers, to be able to acquire new customers, to be able to showcase our product. We're particularly excited about this year's event. We've launched a new product in June this year. We launched 2 weeks before the World Cup, and we've really put a lot of emphasis and focus on our horse racing product to deliver what I would believe to be an uncomparable user experience. At the click of a button, you can view form, colours, jockey, trainer. Even for customers that are on the go, don't have race cards handy, you still have access to basic racing information to be able to make informed opinions and selections on horses for the day. Yeah.
You've had an abundance of experience of dealing with high-profile events, not least of all the Nedbank Challenge, which comes early in November this year. Now, you're going to the home of the Table Bay, and you're setting up in one of the most idyllic situations. That must give you great pleasure to interface with the racing public at large.
Absolute highlights of our calendar. You've spoken about the NGC. And similarly, the SUNBET gives us that opportunity to interact, to get face-to-face with customers. We do generally have a retail experience. We do have stores in Gauteng and both Western Cape, but you cannot take away from interacting with customers on such a prestigious day to be able to offer cash betting face-to-face. Traditionally, most of our revenue and most of our trading is online. So to have that face-to-face interaction is phenomenal, yeah.